Matt the Steamroller Frevola is a UFC lightweight division fighter out of Long Island, New York. He's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a 10-3 professional fighting record, 3 coming by knockout. With his most recent knockout victory over Atman Azatar in the first round of UFC 281 at Madison Square Garden. I've personally had the pleasure of knowing Matt and training with him in this exact gym, Acceleration, for about 4 years. I've watched him win in multiple UFC bouts and rise in popularity due to his brawler fighting style. I'm extremely excited to dive deep into his origin story and how he became the animal he is, and I'm extremely excited to share it with all of you. Matt, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. That was a nice intro. You nailed it right there.
Yeah, and you know, you didn't see that the way that it's going to be seen. So there's gonna be all this music and shit.
You work your magic. You know, you're the artist of this. You know, I'm the artist in the octagon, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, this is a special episode. This past week for us, for any viewers watching, or even for you, this has been a podcast for us that to be completely honest with you, we really haven't been taking it serious. It's just been something that we've loved, almost like a fighter. I'm sure there's a lot of fighters that enjoy going to the gym, but they don't necessarily take it serious until they have that one coach maybe, or that one fighter that sees something in them, and then it gives them all the belief that they need to, I'm going to take this fucking serious. And that's kind of what happened this week. We're having a little bit of virality on TikTok, and now it's something. Now we're going to be doing it.
Starting to believe, man. Like there's a lot of guys in the gym that they're like hobbyists, they just like to do it for fun, and that's awesome. But you kind of notice when you see like an ex high school wrestler or college wrestler come in there, they're young, they're hungry, and they want it, and then having a coach that tells them, shows them how they did it, like a mentor, like what you guys do, and then you make the decision. You're like, all right, I want to do this. Like you guys are like, all right, we want to make this sick. You go to get these sick cameras, these sick lights, you get this dope setup, and now we're fucking doing it.
Yeah, and it's a pretty special moment for us, bro, because we probably honestly have $30,000-$40,000 in camera gear right here, and we've shot 42 episodes, and up until like this very week, no one watched. So it's like it's
they're gonna go back and watch now.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm sure that's something you can relate to, because you're obviously having a lot of success now in the UFC. You just had a first round knockout at UFC 281. We'll eventually get into that, but what I really want to start the episode off with is your origin story. Where are you from? And I guess if someone were to ask you, just what's your story, what would you say?
You could say the journey.
Yeah, the journey.
You want to know the journey, bro.
What's the journey, brother?
Dude, it's the fight life, man. It's a roller coaster, ups, downs, but it started right here, Long Island, Huntington. I went to Harbor Fields High School, HF Pride, baby. And I was always an athlete. I got like a twin brother, and me and him kind of grew up always playing sports, playing baseball, playing football. Right. And then I was an athlete, played football. And then I started wrestling, and I really only wrestled because it would make you a better football player,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because so I just and I was pretty good at it. I was never like a state champ, or I didn't even make it to states. I was a good high school wrestler. Like I won my league. I got beat up in counties, and then I wanted to play college football, and I played one junior college year of football in lacrosse.
Where at?
Dean College in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And once I kind of, I was just an idiot, I was a fucking kid in junior college, which felt like just another year of high school, or I was just partying and shit, got kicked off the lacrosse team, and I was like lost. I was like, what the fuck do I do now? And then I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I miss wrestling, and this will be a funny story. So I was in college. And I just got kicked off the lacrosse team for, you could probably guess it, fighting,
Yeah, right.
And I'm fucking around with one of my buddies in the dorm rooms, and he's this skinny kid, and I was a tough guy, football player, wrestler, or whatever. I shoot a double leg on him, just fucking around in the dorm rooms. He puts me in a guillotine choke, puts me to sleep. And then I just was like, what the fuck did you just do to me?
Right.
And he was like, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. And then I went to Matt Serra's and started, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and which is, pretty much wrestling with like submissions and whatnot. And then I went down to Tampa. I transferred to the University of Tampa, and I found Matt Arroyo down there with Billy Q. I met Billy Q. Billy Q had one amateur fight at the time. I had like 5 months of jiu-jitsu, tough guy, wrestler, football player. I was like, yeah, I want to fight one day, sure. And then they were like, all right, we have amateur fighters who need sparring partners today. This was my first day at the gym down in Tampa. They hand me a pair of gloves, a pair of shin guards. Like, you want to fight? We got amateur guys. They need sparring partners. They like threw me in the Shark Tank, and like I had never sparred before. I was like, oh shit. I throw like an overhand right and just shoot a takedown, and I was kind of hooked ever since, man.
Wow. Was it the first time? So I obviously have never sparred anyone either. Yeah. But I remember one time I had to do shoulder taps with someone, and it kind of was like, oh shit, this is kind of real. Even just doing shoulder taps with someone. Can you speak about that experience, like first time, I guess, in the octagon with someone?
Oh yeah, guys who like are just starting out training, and I have them like spar for the first time. It's not a natural, like it's an uncomfortable feeling when you're standing in front of somebody and they're like trying to hurt you. It's something that not a lot of people are used to, and even if you have been like in fights and stuff, it's like quick, But when you're in there sparring, you have to get that awareness. And I always tell me, you get knocked out by the punch you don't see coming. So it's like somebody's throwing punches at you. The beginners, they're gonna like go like that, flinch, look away, turn their back, and then they look this way and they get hit with the punch they don't see and they get knocked out. It's like once you realize that you can take a punch, if you see it, you got your chin down, your eyes up, you can take a punch. Once you realize you're not like fucking made of glass, like it's a game changer. Just in life in general, you realize you can fucking take a hit and keep coming and keep fighting. And you have to believe in your defense in the beginning, Tell them chin down, eyes up, hands up. Trust your eyes, see everything. Guys got 2 arms, 2 legs, just like you. You know where the attacks are coming from. Trust your eyes. And the more sparring you do, the more you build that awareness. And awareness is key.
Wow. What was the moment in your life when you realized that this was going to be what you're going to do for a living? So like, a lot of times in life, we all have those moments where like some clarity comes through our mind and we're like, this is exactly what I want to do. So what was that moment for you where you made that
down
life
in
decision?
Tampa, like I just started sparring with the amateurs, and then I was going to school. I was going to school full time, University of Tampa, studying criminology, and I was doing ROTC, and I was fighting amateurs. So I was like busy. I was staying busy. I was like I was grinding. It was grind time there, and I had won my first 3 amateur fights, I won my first 2 amateur fights, and then I had my 3rd amateur fight coming up in like a week, and we had a more experienced teammate who was fighting in 2 weeks in Costa Rica for a Costa Rican title. And he was fighting like a 9-0 guy, hometown Costa Rican guy. And then he got hurt. And then they offered me the fight. And I was like, I got to fight this week. You want me to fight in 2 weeks for a 9-0 guy in Costa Rica? I was like, sure, why not, And then I went into that 3rd fight, and my coach was like, listen, you have a huge fight next week in Costa Rica for a title. Just take this guy down and submit him. Don't get hit. And then I was like, okay. And I just went in there. I fucking threw like 4 punches, backed him up to the cage, double-legged him, slammed him down, got on his back, rear naked choked him in like 30 seconds. Didn't get hit once. I was clean. And then we go out to Costa Rica. And it was the first time I ever got anything out of fighting. Like you don't get paid when you're amateur. You lose money fighting as an amateur, paying gym memberships, trying to, pay for food, pay for, life. But there was the first time I had that fight. They flew me down to Costa Rica. They paid for my housing. They paid for my food. And then my dad came down, my brother came down, a bunch of my family came down, and like they turned it into like a nice little vacation. And And I went and I fought this dude, and it was in a bullfighting arena in Cocoa Beach, Costa Rica. And I was fighting this dude that was 9-0 with 9 knockouts, and it was outside in a ring. And I come up, and I was 3-0, he was 9-0, and we're in the bullfighting arena. It starts raining on us right when the fight starts. And dude, I was like, oh man, the gods of war are working on my side, like, because he was a striker. So I came out, and he even came out and he rocked me in the round 1, and I just fucking shot a takedown. It was all slippery. I just take him right down. It was my first fight with ground and pound too, because you only get ground and pound for like when you have like 4 or 5 amateur fights. So I just started ground and pound the shit out of him, and ended up TKO or armbarring him in the 3rd round. I just kept taking him down and beating the piss out of him. And then I got that Costa Rican title. I was like, damn, man, like I can fucking do this. And that's really when the belief started, and the grind has not stopped since then.
Yeah. And once you got that belief, did it like light a fucking fire inside you? Like, did it make you go harder?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. Every victory fuels the fire, just like every loss, though. And now it's what I do. I've been doing this now for so long. This is what I know. But back then, I was still doing other things. I still had to graduate. I was 4-0 as an amateur. At first step is to go pro. Back then I was like, all right, I could be a professional at this. I could fucking do this. I could make it to the UFC one day. But I always had my like my short-term goals more like, first I got to go pro, and I got to get signed to the UFC, and then I got to get a title fight, be a world champ, So wow. I was pumped, man, and it's been a ride.
Yeah. Was there anything in your life that sparked or triggered something like in your mind to step inside of a cage face to face with another man, and realistically, like, you guys are trying to kill each other. It's like you're trying to survive. So was there anything in your life that like brought you to this place in your mind where you have to really understand what's at stake every time you step in the ring? Was there a moment in your life that like put you in that mindset?
Dude, I'm a natural born competitor. Like, and fighting is competition at its highest level, at its most raw form. And I think just, dude, starting the training, with the wrestling, with the jiu-jitsu, with the Muay Thai, with the boxing, and I just really fallen in love with all the technique and every single like martial arts in its own, and then putting it all together in the cage, in the octagon, is honestly like what comes natural. And I'm a natural warrior. Like I always felt that like drive. I was in the Army for 8 years. I just felt like that warrior ethos, warrior ethos. Like, my fucking ancestors had to be some kind of like fucking
Viking or some shit. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I had. I've always been a fighter, man. I've always like, even when I was a kid, if you get backed up, I'm get back to a corner. You don't want to back me up in a corner. I'll fucking come out,
Right.
Like even football, man, like, we let loose in it. And I'm just fucking lucky that I found like mixed martial arts and was able to focus everything, like all my energy and my warrior ethos, like focus it into martial arts, which is fucking sick. And now somehow I've figured out to make some money doing it.
And does fighting to you feel more barbaric, or does it feel more like a true art form?
It feels like a true art form. That's what I try to do. When I fight, I know like I'm known as like a fucking brawler and stuff, and like, but I like to say a technical brawler, like those are my instincts, my fucking shark, lion, like my smell blood, finish. Those are fight instincts. And even when I'm coaching guys, like I'll have a guy in the gym and he'll be so good, technical, so good, but I'm like, all right, I want to see if he's got that fight in him. I want to see when he gets hit. There's two kinds of people out there. Like, you either get hit and you cower away, or you either get hit and you're like, all right, let me get you fucking back. and you want to be that guy who gets hit, and you're like, all right, I want to get you back. You know.
Can you talk about your relationship with Conor McGregor and what it was like training with him, and just being around someone of that caliber, and someone who's accomplished the things he's accomplished?
Yeah, well, I never got to train with him, but we fought on the same card in Abu Dhabi, and it was the second fight with him and Poirier. And I remember I was out out by the pool, and I see McGregor at the other side of the pool. I'm out there with my boy Billy Q, and I'm like, all right, I walked over to him. He's always got his security with him, but his security was like, yeah, what's up? And they let me go through, and I was kind of just shooting the shit. I was like, yeah, how's the weight cut going? Fucking respect for everything you do in the sport. And his Irish accent was so thick, I almost couldn't understand him.
Yeah.
But he was humble guy, man. He was. We were just talking weight cut stuff, how we're feeling. Introduced each other. He was cool, man. Just to even, talk with me a little bit. And I got a pretty sick picture of us both in fucking fight shape, flexing. Yeah. So.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of this sport just as much as a fighter, man. I like to think of myself as a man of the people.
Right.
Right. And I love it. I love fighting on the biggest cards with these big names and meeting everyone and getting pictures with these fucking with these guys and now we're moving up the ranks and
let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Awesome.
So I want to hear about your first UFC fight. How did you get, because what I understand about the UFC is obviously, well, I don't know if obviously, but I would say it's the best fight league. What is it? There's Bellator, there's ONE FC, but UFC that's the show.
That's
everybody,
top dog.
Yeah. That's top dog. Everybody wants to get to the UFC, and I know people get there in weird and different ways. What was that like for you?
Yeah, man. Again, the fucking journey, bro. I got to 9-0 as an amateur, and then I went pro, and I got to 5-0 as a pro, and then they had the first season of the Dana White Contender Series, and I was 5-0. It must have been 2017. I got the Contender Series fight, and it was just coming off a lot of injuries too. My fifth pro fight, I broke my hand and I broke my ankle in the fight in the first round, and it was a fucking hard ass fight, a tough fight. I still got my hand raised. I got the win, but I was fucked up afterwards. I had to get ankle surgery, and I was questioning if I could come back from it. But then that's when I found acceleration too. I moved back home and started going back with acceleration, and they got me back from my ankle surgery, and we've been fucking healthy ever since. But so I get that Contender Series fight. I'm 5-0, and I go to Vegas, and I fucking finish that guy. I choke him out in the second round, and Snoop Dogg's there. My brother and my dad are smoking a blunt with Snoop Dogg. I had Snoop Dogg commentate my fight. It was fucking sick.
Let's go.
Dana White signs me that night, and it was fucking insane, man. It was a dream. It was one of the best moments of my career, getting signed that Contender Series fight in Vegas, and meeting Snoop Dogg and just doing all that. And now I'm signed to the UFC at 6-0 as a lightweight, which is pretty early. Pretty early for a lot of guys. Had never lost, and I get matched up with Polo Reyes. He's a tough Mexican boxer. And I have a great camp. It's my UFC debut, St. Louis. We go out to St. Louis, and I fight this dude. Fucking knocks me out in the first round. My first loss. Never lost as an amateur. Never lost as a pro. It was a pretty crazy minute, I landed some shots. He landed some shots. He caught me. I went down. Debatably an early stoppage, but I ain't complaining. And that was a fucking tough loss. All losses are tough. All setbacks are tough. Any adversity is tough. Right. But I always know, when you're faced with adversity, it really defines you as a person, as a man. And you always have two ways to go, when you're faced with adversity. You can have it fuel you and make you better, or it could break you. So I always make sure that whenever I hit adversity, we charge forward, we keep rolling forward, and we make me better. And after that fight, even before that fight, I'd never lost, so I'd never really done too much film study, like watch my opponents and whatnot. I was always like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna just go in there and steamroll them. That's what I do. And then I fought that Polo Race guy. It didn't work out. And then I'm like, all right, we're in the UFC level. We're fighting the best fighters in the world. Everyone's fucking good. You got to be more calculated. That's when I really started being a calculated killer. I've always been a killer, but I was like, now we got to be a calculated killer. I get an opponent, I got to look at his fights. I got to see the best route for victory, the best way for me to beat this dude's ass. And have a game plan and be smart in the fight and to get the job done. So.
What are some things that you do that you're currently doing right now that you would attribute a lot of your success to?
Yeah.
Do you have a formula?
I do, man. I do. I got my process. I'm a big trust the process guy. Like one thing that helps me is I've got like 3 notebooks of over 10 years of training. Every fight camp I've had 24 fights now. So I've had 24 fight camps. And I've also never taken a fight not ready. And I've learned that watching teammates take short notice fights when they're not ready and going out there and getting fucking hurt. And like you were saying before, like you got to remind yourself, like, we're not going out there and fucking playing baseball. We're not going out there and playing like fucking basketball. We're going out there and fucking fighting. So I will not take a fight not ready. Like there's a lot of short notice guys that fuck it, like I'll take a fight. Nah, man, I got my process, and my process breeds my confidence, and my hard work breeds my confidence, and you need the confidence to go in there and step into an octagon and fight another fucking trained killer, and that's it. My hard work breeds my confidence, and then I know that I'm fucking ready. So I go back to this notebook and I look at my past fight camps. I go, 10 weeks out, what did I do? What was my weight? Where was I at? And I make sure I'm on schedule, or I'm ahead of schedule, but I know my process, and I think we got it fine-tuned,
Dude, I feel like that translates to life, because I used to do the same shit with football. Like when I got I don't even think, bro, that I was supposed to be athletic. Like I definitely have some good genes, right? I'm 6'2", but the way my body just broke playing football, like maybe some of my ancestors were athletes, but like I think most of them were like painters in Italy, or like they were like growing grapes. You know what I'm saying? Because like my body doesn't, it's just broken. It doesn't move correctly. In order for me to play Division I football, one of the things that was really necessary for me was the preparation. I had to be the guy to put in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, right? Film study, meals, nutrition. Coming here was a big part of that. Learning how to stretch, learning mobility, getting actual programs. Like there was so much effort that I had to put in, right? But it made me so fucking confident, because by the time I got to the game, by the time I got to the game, I did all my practice and I was just ready to go out there and perform. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with life. Like when someone's nervous about completing a task, especially if it's like a big fucking thing, I feel like honestly they're just not prepared enough.
They didn't put the work in. Hard work breeds confidence. You put the work in, you're ready, you go out there and do it. And that's what I do. That's what fighting is like and all about. Like the whole time when I'm backstage, like warming up, and when I'm like walking out, I'm like, I always say, I'm fucking ready. Let's fucking do this. Wow. Let's do this. Like they always ask, like, are you nervous and stuff, like backstage? And I'm not nervous. I'm more just anxious. I'm fucking ready. I'm ready. I want to do this. Let's fucking go. But. It's a cool feeling, man. It's a cool feeling, and you like learn to miss it. Like now like I can't wait for the next one to, be in the locker room like warming up, and and then going out there and fucking doing the damn thing.
Right.
How did that? So what was that feeling like in your last fight at UFC 281, coming out
Madison
Square Garden, New York, where you're from?
Right.
It was nuts.
And like just talk about that night, because I'm sure that was. Would you classify that as your best night so far in the UFC?
Yeah.
So give us some inside scoop on that night.
And it was fucking great seeing that, bro, because I know that you had a really tough fight against, was he a Dagestani guy or Russian guy?
Russian guy.
And he was a fucking savage. You know what I'm saying? That was a tough. It looked like I mean, bro, you were grinding in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched all the fights, and then you had a early first round stoppage, right? Someone knocked you out in the first round.
It's been a good year, man. I'm 2-0 this year. 2-0 with 2 first round knockouts against 2 undefeated guys. So, and this has been a fucking good year.
Do you feel like people kind of wrote you off after you had those 2 losses?
Oh, hell yeah. They've been writing me off my whole career. I'm used to it now. I love it. I want them to keep making me the underdog, so I keep making my boys money.
Right.
So now, and even when I'm the favorite, man, I got an underdog mentality. I've always been an underdog. They've always counted me out, and I love it. I let them keep thinking I'm just a wrestler. Just a wrestler. I go out there and knock you out with my hands. Let them think I'm just a brawler. I'm just gonna brawl. I'll fucking technique the fuck out of them.
So with that being said, before you get into UFC 281, because I want to talk about that, bro. It's fucking Madison Square Garden. That's as fucking warrior Coliseum-esque as it gets, Yeah, I'm fucking jealous, Like, bro, like, I could tell, like, you're extremely confident. You know what I'm saying? Like now, you have that fucking that doubt me fucking mindset, right? What are the goals now? Like, do you want to be a UFC champion?
Yeah, I definitely want to be a champion, but it's just one fight at a time. One fight at a time. Like, MSG was my biggest moment. Like, just, the home crowd, the walkout, we fucking nailed the Narco Timmy Trumpet walkout. Shout out New York Mets.
Yep.
And then the first round knockout, against a guy that I was the underdog. A guy that they were talking up, a 13-0 prospect. So it was a huge moment. But before that fight, the fight in California where I knocked a guy down 5 times in a fight and then TKO'd him in the first round, that was the biggest moment. And now the next fight, when I knock out Paddy in London, that'll be the biggest moment. That's what I'm like. I've been thinking, like, dude, that was fucking amazing. Like, having the Garden bumping, with a beautiful knockout like that. Like how am I gonna top that now? And now I'm like, the only way is like knock out Paddy in London.
Is Paddy the next opponent?
Yeah, that would be in a perfect world. That's he's the guy right now. He's got the big following. He's got the Barstool money. He's got the Barstool push. So, in the ideal situation, but he's got a fight. He's fighting December 10th. He's fighting Jared Gordon, who's a tough dude. But, hopefully Paddy gets the win, gets on the mic, says my name, and then we got a big fight to build up in March in England.
You think Paddy's legit?
Yeah, he's good, man. Everybody in the UFC is good. At the highest level, everybody's good. You don't get to the UFC without, being a killer. Right. And that's why even like when you even get to the real high guys, like level, like the top 15, top 20 of especially the lightweight division, I feel like the top 10, anybody could beat anybody on any given day. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. It's a game of inches. And that's how I believe about myself. I could beat anybody in the world on my best day. I truly believe that. So give me that opportunity, give me that chance, and I'll make sure it's my fucking best day, and we'll go and get it done.
Let's fucking go.
Is there anyone in the UFC that you have like actual beef with? Like anyone like that you really have a problem with?
Not really,
Does that go on like very often in the UFC? Because you see a lot of back and forth on social media, and you know, from the outside looking in, some of us, it almost looks like it's for entertainment to build up the hype of the fight. So no one knows, like, if there is, like, real beef. Like,
yeah, man, there's assholes everywhere.
Yeah.
People clash everywhere. Some guys are idiots, you know. But in the end of the day, like, I would say the biggest beef I would have was with Ottman for the shit that he pulled when we were supposed to fight first, when he got caught smuggling the bag in and got cut from the UFC. You know, that was fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, man, like I saw him like running around fight week and stuff, and he was like running around with his dad and his brother and his team. I was running around with my dad, my brother, my team, you know, and like I shook his hand, told him have a good weight cut. You know, I shook his brother's hand, shook his team's hand. You know, we're all cut from the same cloth.
Right.
I don't really know this guy. Who knows really? But he's chasing his dream too.
Yep.
You know, he had to fucking work his ass off to get here too. He most likely faced some adversity, but you know, we're all cut from the same cloth in the end.
Is there anyone in the UFC that you've personally met? Like, do you believe that people can carry an energy with them? Or you could say fuck off. No, I don't believe that. You know, like, do you
No.
have you ever met anyone that's like kind of like has like a larger than life presence?
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to like.
My question to you is, have you ever met anyone that's like truthfully a very scary man?
No.
Not
I
even
feel like
a-
it's hard to ask another trained killer that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like he just said, like he thinks on any given day he could beat anyone in the world.
Well,
so
you
it's
don't
like
know Rampage Jackson or something like that.
no, of course.
No, I mean, I met Ngannou a couple times, like in the hot tub at the UFC PI, like Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, like, what's up, champ? And he's just like, hello.
Right.
How are you? He's so like soft spoken.
Right.
And like looks like he kind of like moves like he looks like he wouldn't hurt a fly. And I'm like, dude, that's like the baddest man on the planet right now.
Yeah, I mean, you watch a lot of these guys, like, you know, Usman and Izzy Adesanya, and you watch them on podcasts, you know, Sugar, like, bro, like, you guys are regular people, you know what I'm saying? Like, people only see you in that state of mind where, like, you're trying to fucking end the other man's life. But outside of that, like, you got to be a regular person, too.
Yeah, which we are, man, you know. We're all human.
Yeah. And I've heard that fighters are almost like nicer and like more kind a lot of the time because they understand
We've
violence.
all been humbled. We've all been humbled.
Yeah.
I was a little fucking punk asshole kid before I started training, and I got humbled. But the difference was I kept showing up. You know, you see it all the time in the gym. The you know, tough guy kid comes in, thinks he's a shit, you know, gets choked out a couple times and then just doesn't come back. But it's the tough guy kid who gets choked out a couple times and keeps coming back. That's the one that's got the potential, you know.
So what do you think that humbling has done for your life outside of fighting, where, you know, you have two lives, you know, there's the life of the fighting, and then you have a whole, like you said, you have a wife, you have, you know, family and everything. So what has translated between the two, where like the things you've learned in fighting have translated to your life outside of the UFC and training?
It molded me, man. It molded me to who I am today. You are what you repetitively do, you know. What's the quote? Therefore, excellence is a habit, you know, not something like that. Maybe we'll Google it.
Yeah. I'll get it. You get into what you got to get into. I'll Google it.
But yeah, man. Like I don't know where I would be if I didn't find martial arts. You know, I was maybe I would have stayed in the army more, and that would have, you know, kept me disciplined, kept me like focused. I think it's really finding anything, kept me humbled. That's it. Like that coming into jiu-jitsu and you know, realizing that I'm not some like tough guy. I am mortal. I can get choked out. I can get fucking knocked out. It humbles you and makes you a better person. We all need to be humbled. Everyone needs to be humbled.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what I just did to my opponent. He was 13-0. He needed to be humbled. We humbled him. So you could call me the humble roller.
The humble roller.
Where did you have the quote?
Yeah. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I wanted to ask you where the nickname originate.
The Steamroller. That was my uncle Dolzy. He's a Boston guy. For all my amateur fights, like coming up, my dad, my uncles, my brother, everybody like would always come to the fights and like have a great time, and they were like, I think it was after my second or third amateur fight, they were like, oh, we need a nickname. And they just kept going back and forth, just talking about it. And they found Steamroller Frevola, drop the ER, add the A, get it roll off the tongue, nice. They planted that seed and it grew and it stuck and we're rolling.
Yeah, it flows.
Yeah, it flows. Go, bro. Yeah, man, I'm happy to have you on, bro. I'm happy to have you on.
Really appreciate it.
What do you do anything for your mental health? For instance, when I was playing football and I got injured, it was really fucking weird, bro, because like 1 minute I was a Division I football player, and then a month later I was back in the same bed that I grew up in, but I wasn't going to college anymore. I wasn't going to get that degree that my parents wanted, and I was a loser, I was like completely back at square one. And all of a sudden, bro, full transparency, I started getting all these fucking panic attacks, which I thought were fake, So long story short, that sent me on the road of like meditation and reading self-help books and like trying to surround myself with positive people and visualization as well, because now I'm more in an entrepreneurial state, and I've been reading books like Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Getting Rich, and it talks a lot about visualization. I know a lot of fighters speak about visualization. Do you do any type of like visualization, manifestation type of thing?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, dude. It's a fucked up thing. Like, knowing that you're going to be fighting somebody in like 2 months. I'm like, all right, 2 months out, I got this fucking 13-0 Moroccan killer, like training to beat my ass in front of the whole world in Madison Square Garden. Like, let's fucking go. And that's definitely something that is in your head, and it fucks with a lot of people, But again, I focus that energy to my preparation, and I do hot yoga usually twice during fight camp. I try to do it once. I need to get my ass back there and sweat, but I'd like meditate at the end of that all the time. Like, it's a hard ass fucking session, and then I'm laying there at the end, and I do all my visualizations while I'm fucking lining a puddle of sweat after fucking grinding. And that's when I do a lot of my meditation. And then I also spoke to a mental coach, this guy Micah. He works for UFC. He's the fucking man, actually. I started talking to him after the Terrence fight. I got fucking knocked out in 7 seconds. It was definitely the lowest low of my career. But there was that was just last year too. So last year, 2021, I lose the fight in Abu Dhabi against Arman, and then I fight Terrence on like a week's notice. I was supposed to fight this guy Frank Camacho, who's a righty boxer. He gets into a car accident the week of the fight. They say, "Oh, we got this short notice guy." I'm like, "Whatever, anyone. I'm ready to fight. Fuck it." And then they throw like Terrence at me, a southpaw fucking guy, and then he just comes out, fucking lands, and caught me. Yeah. And then I was like, damn, man, I'm like, I was questioning everything after that fight. Everybody counted me out after that. Like, I was fucking meme, They were like, and that's when I really found out like who's with me. Like, a lot of people counted me out with that. Like sponsors, a lot of people just, were done. And then I had to rely on like my coaches. Steve, John, Acceleration, they're always with me. Like, my day one, like, people, sponsors stuck with me. I found out who's like really with me after that fight. And my coach, Ray Longo, he was like, told me like, we're not going out like that. You got a lot of fight left in you. Let's get to work. And like, I put my trust in my coaches. I surrounded people, the right people around me. I started talking to that mental coach. He helped me a lot. And, we fucking came back. I actually got married after that too. Amazing. Came back, and that was like in June of 2021. And then I fought January of 2022, and I had my best performance. I went from having my worst fight to having my best fight. I had a first round knockout, TKO, where I dropped a guy 5 times in one round. It was a sick fight. Like, so that was huge for me. Like I said in the beginning, man, everybody's faced with adversity, and how you deal with that adversity defines you as a man, you as a person. You know, everybody has adversity, whether it's lose a fight, whether it's you get hurt, you get injured, whether you get fired. Everybody faces adversity, but you got to fucking answer back, and that's going to define you as a person. So, like, being able to go out there and, you know, I had to remind myself, man, I was in a hole. Like, after that Terrence fight, I went back to work with my dad on the construction site. I was like, I thought the UFC was going to cut me. Like, that was I had 2 fights, 2 losses in a row. I was like, fuck, man, like, is this it? But we got another fight. I kept training. I kept working on my craft, and I kept present, because after that fight, I realized, like, the UFC could cut me after this. So they gave me another fight. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of this. Like, I'm going to be like, wake up and be like, I get to train for a fucking fight today. I get to fucking do this. I enjoyed the whole process. I stayed present in the moment of the preparation, and I went out there and I fucking knocked the dude out in the first round. And then that was the last fight on my contract too. So that was another, like, I had the Terrence fight, and then the last fight on my contract. It was do or die. I fucking had the best fight of my career. We got a new 4-fight deal. We got a fight at Madison Square Garden, and I think I just topped that fight. So wow. I went from having 2 losses last year to having 2 of my best wins this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's fucking amazing. And it's like you said earlier, you got knocked out in 7 seconds, and you said that was the lowest of low. You started questioning yourself. And I feel like in life, those are the defining moments. Those are the things that are necessary in your life. You have to fail. You have to get knocked down. Like, I mean, in your sense, it was literal, like it was an actual situation. And
Terrence fight was an early stoppage too.
That's fucking amazing.
I was about to triangle choke him.
But seriously, like, do you think if you didn't go through that, would you be where you're at today?
No, I don't think so, because after that Terrence fight, coach wanted me to box. He's like, we got to box more. And I was like, I love Muay Thai. Like, I've been to Thailand a bunch of times. I fought Muay Thai. I love kicking people. I just think it's fucking cool as fuck, and elbowing people and kneeing people. And boxing was always like my weakest. And coach wanted me to box more and work my left more, because I fucking broke this hand like 3 times. And so I had to develop a left. And, I'm glad coach told me to go to boxing more, because I just fucking knocked that dude out with the hands, baby.
I love it.
That left worked.
So I want to speak really quick about acceleration. So, like, what has this place done for you? I know it's such a broad question, but, like, what has it done for you?
Dude, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for John and Steve. Like, they've gotten me back from so many injuries. They keep me strong, like, fast and healthy, man. Like, like we were talking before, like, I've been fighting for 10 years, and I know what I have to do to stay healthy, to be able to, do my martial arts. That's always my most important training, because that's what I do. I fight, and what's going to keep me healthy to be able to do my martial arts? I have to lift. I have to lift weights. When I'm strong, I don't get hurt. And acceleration has kept me strong. And I owe everything. I tore my ACL in high school. That's how I found them. And they got me back from my torn ACL to play junior college football. And then, I reconnected with them when I moved back from Tampa. And now we've done 9 fight camps together at Acceleration. So we got our process. Steve knows what we're doing 10 weeks out, Right. He knows how to progression, and I love it, man. I'm a meathead at heart, bro. I like to lift fucking weights.
Right.
I like to toss some shit around.
Right.
And that's why I'm excited now. Like, I just fought last week, And now I get to fucking bulk in season, baby. We get
man.
Put on some muscle, get
Steve,
a little
you hear that? So you would recommend acceleration to other people?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Especially, if you're an athlete, if you're coming back from an injury, if you even want to lift, I'm so lucky to have found them as young as I did, because they taught me the right way to lift. There's so many people who don't know how to lift, and they just get hurt. So it's shout out acceleration.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So now let's get out of fighting, right? Move out of fighting and speak a little bit more about, let's talk about this, is it Nelk?
Yeah.
The potential Nelk opportunity?
Yeah, full send MMA.
I met some of the guys.
I
met Bradley who did I meet? Steve. I did some with Steve.
Bradley
Steiny. You met Steiny.
Steiny. Yep.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle's the man.
Yeah, Kyle's
so talk about that. Talk about are you gonna be the next full send guy they signed?
We'll see, man. We'll see. They got Sugar Sean signed. I love all their content. Those videos are funny as shit, man. I think I saw the Bigfoot one.
Hysterical.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
The Bigfoot one is funny.
Dying.
Yeah.
I was dying, bro.
Rafiki, Salim, Death.
Oh my god, bro. Like then they just pounded. And the production was sick. That shit was hilarious. And I like that they're getting in the MMA game, and I met the guy OG. He came to my gym once, and he shot some cool stuff. I love Happy Dad, so we'll see, man. Hopefully we get to link up.
And then I wanted to ask you this before, but I never did. Was there ever a day when you received a large sum of cash from it was your first big paycheck? Did that ever happen?
Yeah.
And what did that feel like?
Oh, it was sick. Just the direct deposit right to the Steamroll account. It's nice when it hits, man. But then I gotta fucking cut my Steamroller checks, and now I just got my one from New York. I gotta cut the New York taxes, man.
Right.
But it feels good, It feels good. But we got bigger checks to chase still.
Awesome. Beautiful. Do we have anything? Let's see. Cut this. I think we're pretty much fucking solid, bro. Yeah.
You guys think we got some good sound bites?
Yeah,
bro,
a lot of fucking sound bites. I would say.
Let's talk about the locker room stuff. I got a little warrior versus athlete mentality.
Go for it, bro.
Oh, yeah. Dive into that.
Give us something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always tell amateur fighters and stuff when they're coming up. One of my coaches, Eric Parker, used to tell me this. And there's warriors and there's athletes. Athletes are gonna worry about, I didn't have a good warm up. My hands were wrapped, too tight. They didn't feel good. I got hit too much in sparring. Athletes are gonna think about those, little excuses. And then warriors, you're fucking, you're in a war. You gotta fucking fight. You show it no matter what happens. You get out of that foxhole and you fucking fight. So you always have to have that warrior mentality. That it doesn't matter what happens. You're ready. You're gonna make that walk. You're gonna step into that cage, and you're gonna give it everything you have. You're gonna fight your heart out. Leave everything you have in that octagon, blood, sweat, and tears. No matter what happens afterwards, you're gonna drink a beer afterwards and be better from it. So you always gotta have the warrior mentality.
Awesome.
Cut. Thank you, Matt Frevola.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate you coming on the fucking podcast.
Yeah, did we nail it?
Yeah. No, that was awesome. Yeah.
No, for real. This is a big inception for us, bro. Because I can tell you right now, I do. So there's a quote that came up to me this past week, bro. By thought, the thing you want presents itself, and by action, you receive it. And I'm a fucking action taker, and he's a fucking action taker. It's 42 episodes. No one watched or gave a fuck. $35,000, $40,000 of equipment. No one watched and gave a fuck. 700, hundreds of TikToks posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. Nobody watched and gave a fuck.
Build it, and they will come.
And that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
Build it, and they will come. So now we're taking it fucking serious. The TikTok algorithm is being our friend. Thank you for fucking watching. And we're about to have, I would say in 6 months, bro, we'll be known faces in the podcast game.
Let's go, bro. And I got somebody to come visit down in Miami now.
Yes, you do. And we're going to have some fun off camera.
You going to get me on one of those boats? What's up?
Come on, cuz. You know I got you. Yeah, bro. For a UFC fighter? Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
100%, bro. We got to shoot some ads and shit, though. Nah, it'll be good.
We'll have a good time.
Yeah. Appreciate you, cuz.
Stuff.
Good shit, bro.
Thank you, bro.